A lot of older airsofters might recall the Pulse R71 from Well. Terribly old gun that uses the battery magazines, gravity fed. And I'm here today to show you how to ID these versus the newer Academy made variants. The most important piece of this guide is going to be the cocking handle. These were built very closely to the Well Stinger. Can't quite remember the model, but they had Stinger MP5s just like this guy here, and they were built really close. And they did not have a cutout on the drum sight. Take note of this very early Well gravity fed scope hopper. And we're going to move on. This is the earliest model from what I can tell and what I can remember. We move on. H&K started clamping down on their derivatives and fake models or replicas of their guns, so Crossman had to switch it up. I believe this is the R71 TAC. I'm not quite sure what the R91 was, but you can see they switched over to a G36 style top rail, which has a rear sight built in, it appears, but it's trapped down there and I can't seem to free it. This one uses their newer R73-esque scope hopper. Has a different finish on it, and they advertise these as being made in the USA, or being assembled in the USA. They give no declaration of where the actual country of origin is. They've used a different foregrip, and then at this point they still had the cocking handle, although it's much different from the R71. The spring noise is a bit more pronounced, so I think this one came out of a different country, probably Academy, but I don't have enough evidence to support that. This is the second model from Crossman. And then when GameFace started coming around, they made the newest one. I believe this is the R71 TAC from GameFace. And probably the most glaring issue, and then this one uses the newer AR-15 Stanag batteries, but there's a lot of similarity to our second gen R71, and this one's called, I think they've marked this as the R91, but I'm not. TAC R91 from GameFace, and it's just a cheaper. These guys are just cheaper, more accurate replicas of the original. Suppressors use a different coloring, and Well did not do. These are more of an Academy design. The Stanag batteries. The GF and then the second gen R71 have a much higher FPS output. The Wells are terribly weak. So the overall finish is much different. But again, the biggest point about this guy, and really disappointing, is the lack of a cocking handle. The cocking handle was nothing, but it's still a nice touch. And these are probably the biggest points. The Stanag battery, the updated scope, which Well also uses, and then the curved front grip, and then the G36 cocking or top rail. So if you want to dodge the newer GameFace edition, or you just want to make sure you're not buying, or if you're trying to make sure you want to buy one of these, GF TAC R91 is the GameFace model. R71 from Crossman is the second gen model, and again, this Crossman model has the cocking handle, and then the original Pulse R71 from Well also has a cocking handle, but it also features a older scope, and this one is clearly identified on the right side of the gun next to the mag well that it was made in China. So I wonder, yeah. And then these have the MP5 style drum sights. That's really all I have to say. Those are the biggest noting points to ID these guns. Really, that was the goal of the video, was to show you the different generations and how to identify them. I find the R71's more desirable just for nostalgic purposes, and then that's about it. These are all plastic gearbox guns. I think the only difference in these guys is just the FPS that they shoot at, but they're all terribly ineffective in the scope hopper. Very limited options there. And even back then, they turned off a lot of people with the scope hopper. But, so yeah, that's all I have to say. I believe all the MP5 batteries work across the generations that use the MP5 magazines. Now I'm going to go downstairs and get you another gun that similarly was scope fed, but is not an MP5. I believe that it's a zombie gun. Let me go get that for you, and then I'll show you that one. Alright, here's the next one I want to show you. This appears to be an AR-15 model derivative. So, I don't think these guys are made by Well. I think these guys are made by Academy. Academy had some similar models like the Colt SMG. That's a very much discontinued gun. Oh, I guess none of the stocks are compatible, although these appear to be the same finish as the newest Game Face versions. But anyway, I'm pretty sure these are the Crossman Zombie series. One more thing I want to talk about, and this is another really important part, is battery compatibility between all the generations and brands. That's a big worry, because while the batteries for some models are still available, we got to tackle that. We got to see which ones are compatible across the generations. So I got all my batteries sitting over in my bin. I'm going to get them for you, and we'll see what we can learn from that. So again, here's our zombie gun. Oh, terribly loose safety connector. Which one is this? I think this is the Well. No, this is a 3 Ridge. I think this is the Academy battery. Good. This one isn't dead. If I can find the motivation to go get my Well battery from the basement, I'll go do that. I'm pretty sure this one's the Academy battery. Oh, here's another battery. Let's see if this one works. Good. I'm not sure. This is a 3 Ridge too. And they use the same battery connector as the MP5 magazines, so that's barrel connector. DC barrel connector. Alright, let's look at the GF, what is this again? The GF TAC R91. Works. Works. So, between these two guns, they have, and again, the MP5 design and then the AR-15 design, they have magazine compatibility with the 3 Ridge AR-15 Stenag batteries. So let me go dig up a battery from a gun from Well. I believe the Well batteries and chargers are the ones you're going to be able to find for sale. But I want to know for sure before I endorse people to go buy it. I can't find that Well battery. It's buried probably at the bottom of somewhere, but I'd say that all these gravity-fed battery contact magazines are all compatible with each other. That's what I'd say. Especially considering the Academy magazine does fit with the Well AR-15 models that we've tested so far. So I'd say as long as you're not seeing a magazine like this one, which uses a, this is a Well magazine by the way, which uses a large Tamiya plug, then I'd say you're golden. Buy it. These are all NICADs by the way, so you got a good chance of reviving them in the case that they are dead. I've also made a video on that. But these guys aren't cheap. I think they want like $30–40 for them, although they do come with a charger. Covered a lot of ground here. This is stuff I've known for a long time, but I wanted to share this with you guys. The batteries are probably the hardest thing to find for these guys, and I think all the more information I can give about these guys, the better. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll do my best to look it up, and check the description for more information. Okay. So thank you for watching.
Yeah.